Hello students. So today we are going to start with a new chapter in chemistry, that is the hydrogen. Okay, this hydrogen is a very small and easy chapter. You have already studied about the hydrogen in your last standard also, that is the 8th standard. Okay, so let's discuss something about the hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen whose symbolic form is H. Okay, it is represented by H, and its molecular formula is H2. Its atomic number, it's 1. Valency of the hydrogen is 1. Okay, and the position, okay, the position is the first period. This is the first period in group 1A. Okay, 1A group in the first period. Now hydrogen, why hydrogen is specially taken as a chapter? Okay, although see there are 118 elements up to now. Okay, there are actually more than that, but according to the bookish knowledge there are 118 elements in all. But why we are studying hydrogen only? Okay, why we study hydrogen as a particular chapter? Let's understand why it is so important to know about the hydrogen. See, in the periodic table, we have completed the chapter called periodic table, okay, in chemistry. In that, there was a controversial part, okay. According to the modern periodic tables, hydrogen couldn't get the perfect position, whether it should be placed in a group 1A or a 7A. It was a controversial part out there, okay. But why? There is some similarities. If I am going to keep my hydrogen in group 1A, that is similarities with alkali metals. Okay, what are the similarities with the alkali metals? Why hydrogen resemble the properties like an alkali metal? Let's understand. See, first group 1A. Okay, first group. What does first group consist of? See, I have given the shortcut to you, and you have to write in like vertical. As of now, just making you understand. Okay, heli, na, ki, rabdi, sasti, free. So this is one group 1A. Okay, all these have the similarity. What is the similarity? Valence shell. Okay, valence shell, not valence shell, valence electron. They all have one electron in their outermost shell. Okay, what do you mean by valence electron? The electron which is present in the outermost shell. And how many electrons are present in each and every element in this group 1? 1. Okay, what is the similarity more? They share the same valency, that is 1. Okay, outermost electron is 1, thus the valency is 1. Okay, then ion formation. We know that metal donates electron, okay, loses electrons and carries up a positive charge. See, if I am going to take any of the elements like K, I am going to take, okay, now, and I am going to make it lose 1 electron, so it will be K plus. Even hydrogen shows up the same like H plus. Okay, how? When it loses its 1 electron. Okay, so ion formation, they shows this positively charged are called cations. So even hydrogen can form cations, so that is why they have been placed in the alkali metals. More reasons are there. Okay, reducing powers. reducing powers. See, the word reducing power means the reducing agent. Word reducing power means the reducing agent. See, alkali metals and hydrogen, both, they are considered to have a good reducing power. What does that means? See, if I am going to take copper oxide and I am going to make it react with sodium, so what is the function of this sodium? As this has the reducing power, this copper oxide will eventually get converted into copper, okay, and this oxygen will go with this Na. Okay, so same like that, when copper oxide, if we make it react with the hydrogen, it get reduced to copper and water is formed. Okay, same like that. Okay, so reducing power means the reducing agent. Means what it does, it reduces the metallic oxide into the normal metals. Then burning point. Okay, burning point. Let's understand this part. If I'm going to take hydrogen and I'm going to make it react with oxygen, so it is going to form water. Okay, it is going to form water. And usually all the other alkali metals like sodium, lithium, any of those, okay, they make it react. If I'm going to take sodium and I'm going to make it react with oxygen, so it is going to form Na2O2. Okay, this is called sodium peroxide. If I'm going to take lithium, okay, which belongs to group 1, it will form lithium 2 oxide. Okay, here also the reaction we have to balance. So this is the burning power. See, burning means what? Why we took oxygen only? Because we know the property of oxygen, that the oxygen support combustion. So that is why we took oxygen as a part. Then next, they form, see, this group 1 metals readily, okay, they readily react with this oxygen and catches the fire. Okay, they catches the fire and get tarnished. What do you mean by word tarnished? Blackish. Okay, they get attacked, they get blackish. Like suppose you take an apple, okay, if you cut from between and if you keep that same apple for a longer period of a time, so what is going to happen? After few minutes you will notice that half of your apple, okay, which was whitish in color, got black. So same like that, if I'm going to take sodium, lithium, anything, and if I'm going to make it react with oxygen, so it will get tarnished like blackish, as I have given the example of the apple. Okay, so as these alkali metals seem to be very reactive in nature, okay, as this alkali metal seems to be very reactive in nature, so one should keep in mind, we should keep this alkali metals in kerosene oil and inert organic solvent. Why alkali metals should be kept in a kerosene oil or an inert organic salt? This might be asked as the give reason in your exams. Okay, the alkali metals. So what we should write? See, as alkali metals are very reactive in nature, so they get easily oxidized. Okay, see, they get easily oxidized and form their oxides, and they get easily tarnished away. So that is why, in order to not get reacted with the air which is present outside, so that is why it has been kept in the kerosene oil and an inert organic solvent. See, the word inert, you know You have already heard about this कि group 18 is called the inert gases. Inert means what? Non-reactive. Sorry, non-reactive. And the word organic solvent means what? See, solvent, we know water is called as the universal solvent. So solvent means the liquid part, and organic means what? The solution part, okay, in which carbons are there. Carbon tetrachloride, carbon sulfide examples, okay. So that is why they should be kept in a kerosene oil and inert organic solvent, so that they does not react with the air or nor they get burned, because easily get attacked by the air also. Combinations with the non-metals. Combination with the non-metals. See, understand. If I take an example of a sodium, so sodium can form sodium oxide, sodium sulfide, and sodium chloride. These are the forms of the sodium. If same non-metals like oxygen, like sulfur, like chlorine, if I am going to make it react with the hydrogen, so again it would be same. H2O, see, instead of Na I am putting H, okay, H2S, hydrogen sulfide, and HCl, okay. So what I did, instead of sodium I put H. So this shows okay, when the sodium, okay, sodium form its oxide, hydrogen can also form its oxide. Sodium can form sulfide, hydrogen can also form sulfide. Sodium can form chlorides, so hydrogen can also form the chlorides. So this was the similarities. So that is why they resemble the properties same like the alkali metals. Now we are going to study okay, why they resemble the similarities like halogens. Similarities between hydrogen and halogen. First, EC stands for electronic configuration. Okay, what are the elements that comes in the halogens? See, I have given a shortcut to you. F, Cl, Br, I, At. Okay, first class biryani I ate. This was the shortcut I have given in the last lecture. Okay, in the periodic table. Electronic configuration. See, hydrogen is one, fluorine. Okay, sorry, fluorine. Then we will take chlorine. Chlorine, 287. If we look at the electronic configuration, okay, if you look at the electronic configuration, see in their outermost shell, in the fluorine and chlorine, the outermost shell has the 7 electrons. How many electrons more it needed to complete up its octet? It need more 1. This also need more 1. And see, hydrogen will resemble the property same like helium, okay, because hydrogen does not follow octet, but in fact it forms the duplet. So how many electrons it needs more to form its duplet? Duplet means 2, okay. So 1 is already there, 1 more. So if you notice, the bonds are same, okay, 1. So that is why there, due to this nature, their valencies are said to be 1. Okay. Now formation of ion. If you look at chlorine, so chlorine gains one electron and it forms Cl minus. Same like that, hydrogen can also gain one electrons and it can forms H minus. Okay, so hydrogen can form anions. Okay. They show group 17 shows electronegative characters. What do you mean by electronegative characters? Electronegative character means, see, whenever any of those, okay, if any of the elements except the electrons, so it forms up a negative charge. So this means the electronegative characters, physical states. See, like halogens, see, in case of the halogens, they all are gases, okay, they all are non-metals and usually in the gaseous state, but only two elements like fluorine and chlorine, because bromine in this case would be in the liquid state. Fluorine and chlorine both are gaseous in nature, whereas hydrogen, okay, if we compare about the hydrogen, even it's a non-metal and it is a gaseous in nature, so that is why it resembles the property same like the halogens. Okay, now atomicity. Atomicity means what? See, all these halogen groups, okay, they are diatomic in nature. They are diatomic in nature. What does that means? Diatomic means consist of two atoms. Even hydrogen, if you notice the first page, okay, in the first page the molecular formula of hydrogen is H2. So even the hydrogen is the diatomic in nature. Now, so this was all the similarities between hydrogen and alkali metals, between hydrogen and halogen. Now we are going to consider properties of hydrogen differ from alkali metals and halogen. Now see, they might ask you as the question answers part, okay, why the property of hydrogen differ from alkali metal and halogen. So there are the straight reasons. See, the first reason is hydrogen differ from alkali metals and halogen. All alkali metals and halogens, they have more than one shell, but hydrogen has only one shell. Okay, let's understand. See, if I'm going to take fluorine, chlorine, so 1, 2, how many shells are there? 2 shells are there. Okay, if I'm going to start from fluorine, okay, chlorine, it has 3 shells. Same like that, if I'm going to take sodium, potassium, okay, sodium, potassium, it has 3 shells. Okay, it has 4 shells. Okay, if I'm going to write lithium also, so it has 2 shells. So lithium, sodium, potassium all have more than one shell, but in case of the hydrogen it has only one shell. That is only because the atomic number is 1, so that is why it has one shell only. Second point is very important. Okay, see, hydrogen when forms with oxide, so it forms up a neutral oxide. Neutral oxide. Okay, hydrogen when gets combined with oxygen, it forms up a neutral oxide. But alkali metals, if I'm going to consider the alkali metals, and I'm going to take the examples for you. Alkali metals, which alkali metals? Like sodium oxide, okay, potassium oxide, they all are considered to be basic in nature. They all are considered to be the basic oxides. And halogens like Cl2O, okay, chlorine oxides, okay, it can be a second one, okay, Cl2O7. They halogens form acidic oxides. So basically, if the oxide, see, halogens are non-metal, okay, non-metal oxides always shows up the acidic nature, whereas alkali, they are the metal oxides, they are always basic in nature. So this acidic and basic means what? See, acidic means what? Okay, if I'm going to take this oxide and I'm going to put them in the water, they will be acidic in nature, okay, they will form up the acids. But if I'm going to take any metal oxides and I'm going to put them in the water, so it will form up the basic oxides. But hydrogen does not resemble both the properties, nor it forms the acidic, neither it forms up the acidic oxide, nor it form as the basic oxide. What does it forms? It forms up the neutral oxide. So they might ask you in the name the following, okay, which is a neutral oxide. So you can write the water as an example. Now we are going to study about the preparation methods. See, hydrogen, why the word hydrogen has been given? Because Henry Cavendish, okay, Henry Cavendish and Lavoisier, they both founded hydrogen. Why it should be given the word name as hydrogen? Because the word hydro means water and the word gen means generator, okay. Why water generator it has been called? If I'm going to take hydrogen and I'm going to combine it with the oxygen which is present in the air, so it will form water. So that is why Henry Cavendish and Lavoisier called it as a hydrogen, okay, which means the water generator. Now preparations of hydrogen, okay, there are different methods to prepare hydrogen. So first we are going to do up the reactions related to the water part, okay, then we are going to make them react with the acids, okay. Let's understand one by one. So put a topic. Preparation of hydrogen. See, you should know displacement reaction. Okay, this is the displacement reaction. So first we are going to understand, this is the metal reactivity series. Sodium, potassium, calcium, they all three reacts with the cold water, okay, they all three reacts with the cold water. Then magnesium, so we know that part, as we move down the group the reactivity keeps on decreasing, so they react. See, this magnesium react with hot water and steam. Hot water and steam. See, there is a difference between hot water and steam. Hot water means the water which has been boiled, okay, and the steam means what? When you boil up the water on excessive heat, so the vapor it releases is called as the steam, okay, steam reactions. this aluminium, zinc and iron. Okay, the reactivity decreases, so it reacts with only the steam part. Okay, only the steam part. The rest of the metals you don't have to take, because see, we are going to consider only those metals which are above the hydrogen. Just make a note, because it's very a common sense part. If I am going to prepare my hydrogen, so only those metals I am going to take in the reactivity series which are above the हाइड्रोजन. ओके, क्योंकि उसके नीचे वाले हाइड्रोजन उसके नीचे वाले एलिमेंट्स तो वैसे भी कुछ यूज़ के नहीं है. हम लोग वही कंसिडर करेंगे जिसकी मेटल रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज इज़ ग्रेटर देन दी हाइड्रोजन. ओके, दिस मेटल. तो सपोज आई एम गोइंग टू शो यू वन रिएक्शन, so it becomes very easy for you to understand. Suppose K, and I am going to put the K into a water. So what it is going to form? It is going to form potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas will be released. Okay, in order to balance the reaction I am going to put 2. So they reacted. See, here the water was in the cold state. So this is very easy understanding. See, which is the most reactive metal? This. Even sodium would give you the same reaction. Okay, even the sodium would give you the same reaction, but there would be a difference in this part. See, what is the concept? As we move down the group, okay, as we move down the group, the reactivity decreases. So who is most reactive? The potassium. Okay, potassium is more reactive. Why? Because this is highly exothermic reaction and produce a vigorous. Okay, this reaction is very exothermic and vigorous in nature. What does that means? See, when I am going to take a beaker which is full of water, and I am going to take a piece of sodium or potassium or a sodium, any of those you can take. Suppose I am taking K. So K means what? Potassium. If I am going to put this in a water, so the same I am going to put in the water, so it will catches up the fire. Okay, means the reaction is highly exothermic. Means what? It releases a lot amount of heat and the reaction is vigorous in nature. Vigorous means what? Very violently. Okay, it releases up the steam. But in the same case, if I am going to fill it with the water and I am going to put sodium now, even the reaction here will be exothermic also. Okay, here also the reaction is vigorous in nature, but this is less vigorous and potassium is more vigorous. So this shows the potassium reacts readily with the cold water more than the sodium. Okay, here they might ask you regarding the colors part or something like that. So in sodium cases, see, when it catches up the fire, it produces the lilac color flame. And in case of sodium, when sodium gets burned, so it will cause a golden yellow color. Okay, see, if a metal combines with OH, so it is always said to be a basic in nature. Okay, as we have acid, we have bases also, so they always form of the basic metal. Now third is calcium. The reaction would be the same only. Okay, the reaction would be the same only. Now there is always a controversial question regarding the magnesium. What is the magnesium? See, if I am going to take magnesium and I am going to pour this water, okay, the water means the steam part or hot water. Okay, first reaction let's make with the hot water and then with the steam. Okay, if I'm going to make it react with the hot water, so it would make magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen gas will get evolved. See, there is a preparation of hydrogen. Same magnesium, if I'm going to take and make it react with a steam now, it would release hydrogen gas. Okay, it would release hydrogen gas. But in both the cases, okay, in both the cases, if you notice, here there was a formation of magnesium hydroxide, here the formation was magnesium oxide. So what does this symbolize? See, if you notice KNaCl, they all forms hydroxides. Even magnesium can form hydroxides, but when the water is hot. But if the water is in the form of the steam, it will release only the oxides. So same like that, if I'm going to take the examples regarding the aluminium. See, as we move down part, the reaction decreases. So I'm going to take aluminium. Okay, and I'm going to make it react with the steam part. Now see, I was very clear. Okay, in the initial they will form the hydroxides, but as we move down the side, only oxides will be formed. Okay, see here, if you notice, only the aluminium oxide has been formed, not the aluminium hydroxides. This shows the reactivity is getting decreased. See here, they have used up a temperature that is 800 degrees Celsius. Why they took? See, the water was in the form of the steam, and at the same period of a time, they have used the temperature also, that is around 800 degrees Celsius. Why they took both of this part? Okay, they took steam also. Okay, and at the same period of a time they used 800 degrees Celsius also. Why? There was a reason for the use. See, when this aluminium got reacted with this steam, it forms up a compound called aluminium oxides. Okay, it forms up the aluminium oxides. See, what was the function of this aluminium oxides? Aluminium oxide forms up a coating. Okay, this I'm writing out here. It forms up a coating on the surface. As it forms up the coating on the surface, it prevents the reactions to take place. See, it forms the coating on the surface, hence it prevents the reactions to take place, and due to this, no hydrogen gas is released. Let's understand. If I'm going to take a aluminium sheet, okay, this is nothing but the aluminium sheet. When I'm going to make this aluminium reacts with this steam, it forms up the coating at the top like this, a strong coating, because aluminium has the greater affinity towards the oxygen. What do you mean by that? Greater affinity means what? It has the love toward the oxygen. Okay, it's strongly attached at the surface of the aluminium. So because of this, the hydrogen gas is not released. The hydrogen gas traps out here only. But as we use this 800 degrees Celsius, the coating gets break. Okay, aluminium, suppose this I'm showing out here, the coating breaks and the hydrogen gas gets liberated. So we used 800 degrees Celsius in order to break up the coating which is present on the surface of the aluminium, so that hydrogen gas can be liberated. Now we are going to take about the AlZn, then Fe, zinc. if I'm going to take this zinc and I'm going to make it react with the steam. See, I have already given you the logic. If we are going to take steam, so we have to form zinc oxide and hydrogen gas will be get released. See, this zinc oxide, the special features of this is color part. It would be differentiated into two colors. It can be in the form of yellow or it can be in the form of white. But how to understand when it would be a yellow color and when it would be a white color? Yellow color would be when the zinc oxide is hot. Okay, when the zinc oxide is hot, because it has reacted with the steam, so definitely it has to be hot. But after some time, okay, when the zinc oxides get eventually cooled, it forms white color. So how to take an example? See, how to remember? Hot means what? Sun. What is the color of the sun? Yellow. Cool. Cool means what? Snow. What is the color of the snow? White. So just remember like this. Now I am going to take iron part. See. If I am going to take a steam, okay, and I am going to make it react, so it will form a part. This compound name is very special, that is triferric tetraoxide. Triferric tetraoxide, and hydrogen gas will release. Triferric. Tri means what? Because 3, okay, 3 triferric. Tetra. Tetra according to chemistry means 4. Triferric tetraoxide. If you notice all the reactions, they were irreversible in nature. Okay, but when you come towards the iron part, it is reversible in nature. Okay, it is reversible in nature. It is forming up a compound that is called triferric tetraoxide. Okay, and the same reaction could go back also. Okay, means what? This triferric tetraoxide can react with this hydrogen and can eventually get converted into their original product. Now, so this was all about the water related part. Now we are going to take only one example, that is related to the preparation of hydrogen with acids. Okay, the topic name is with acids. Let's understand the part. See, we know 3 acids. We know 3 acids which we usually take in the labs. First is the hydrochloric acid, second is the sulfuric acid, and the third one is nitric acid. Okay, so see, we have to prepare hydrogen with whom? With acids. Suppose I am taking the example. See, you should know the metal reactivity series, which I have already made you clear in the start only. And we should always take up the metal which is above the hydrogen. Okay, the metals which are above the hydrogen should be taken into the consideration, because niche wale elements are less reactive than hydrogen, so it won't be able to produce up the hydrogen. If I am going to take sodium and I am going to make it react with HCl, so it will form NaCl and hydrogen gas will be liberated. The same, if I am going to take sodium and I am going to make it react with the sulfuric acid, sodium sulfate plus hydrogen gas will be liberated. See, in both the cases they have liberated the hydrogen. Okay, in both the cases they have liberated the hydrogen. Why they have liberated the hydrogen? Because we already have understood of the concept of displacement reaction. A more active metal displaces a least active one. A more active metal, see, this was a more active metal, so it goes in the place of hydrogen, and hydrogen came in the place of sodium. So according to the concepts, we know this part very easy. But see, we can't take potassium from the start. Sodium, potassium, sodium and calcium. We can't take these three elements in order to prepare hydrogen. Why? Because they are very reactive in nature. Okay, they are very reactive. These three metals are very reactive in nature, and acids are also dangerous. Okay, if two very reactive elements, compounds, if we are going to take this part, so what is going to happen? It can create the explosion. Okay, a lot of violence can be created. So that is why we can't take these three elements. So which metal should be preferable while preparing hydrogen? Magnesium, aluminium and zinc. Okay. Iron, sodium. Even they are reactive, but not that reactive. Okay, they won't be producing any explosion. What they are going to form? They are going to form their respective salts and release the hydrogen gas. Let's understand what do you mean by the salts and hydrogen. If suppose I am going to take first example, suppose, and in the same you can continue for the other as well. If I am going to make it reacts with HCl, okay, if I am going to take aluminium and I am going to make it react with okay, respective salts means what? If I am going to take magnesium, so this is called salt. So this is the respective salt, and what is liberated? Hydrogen. We have to prepare that only. Okay. So this preferable methods are this. Okay, which are above the hydrogen. But the most preferable acids to work out with to prepare hydrogen is this. That is HCl and sulfuric acid. Okay, these are the most preferable one. See, if you want, I can give you an examples of sulfuric also. It will form MgSO4 and hydrogen gas will get liberated. Okay, if I am going to take aluminium and I am going to make it react with sulfuric acid, so Al2SO4 3 hydrogen gas will be liberated. But see, this is okay now. Okay, I made it react with HCl, then I made it react with sulfurics, but I have not made it react with the nitric acid as of now. Why nitric acid is not taken into the consideration? There is a very big reason regarding this part. Let's understand. Okay, why nitric acid is not taken into the consideration while preparing of the hydrogen gas. So if you want, you can put a question, and this is very important because many school exams, okay, in your boards also they can come. Why nitric acid is not used to prepare hydrogen gas? This is the question. Let's understand. suppose let's take an example. Suppose I am going to take zinc and I am going to make it react with nitric acid. The word should be concentrated nitric acid. Okay, the word should be concentrated. Just write a word, concentrated. See, it is going to form zinc nitrate. It is going to form hydrogen. See, hydrogen is getting prepared. Okay, the hydrogen is getting prepared, but this hydrogen is going to get oxidized, and eventually this hydrogen would be get converted into the water. To understand what is our topic, preparation of hydrogen, but what has been got formed? Water has been got formed. See, we were not supposed to form up the water. Okay, we were not supposed to form up the water. Then too the water has been got formed out here. So there is a straight and a clear reason for this part. See, I am not going to balance up the reaction, but the main reason is because nitric acid is a very good oxidizing agent. This is the main answer. Concentrated nitric acid is a very good oxidizing agent. It oxidizes hydrogen to form water and it defeats the purpose. Okay, because usually what is the reaction whenever you take any of the metal and if you make it react with acids, so it will form up their salts and hydrogen gas would be released. But in case I took zinc, I took nitric acid, it forms zinc nitrate, but here water has been formed. What is our topic? It should form hydrogen, not the water, but it formed water. So why concentrated nitric acid is not used in the preparation of hydrogen? Because it is a very good oxidizing agent. It oxidizes hydrogen to form water. So that is why we don't take. But then too, if suppose they ask you, okay, if I am going to use this nitric acid, okay, and I have to prepare this hydrogen, so which metals would be preferable? Again, this can be question. Name the metal that can be used to prepare hydrogen gas. Name the metal that can be used to prepare hydrogen gas from the nitric acid. The answer to this, first I am going to write, this is magnesium and manganese. But magnesium and manganese goes with the condition. Okay, what are the conditions? If I am going to take magnesium and I am going to make it react with nitric acid, see, it is going to form magnesium nitrate, and hydrogen gas would be released out here. In case of the manganese also the same. But here it should be 1% diluted. Okay, it should be in the diluted form. Diluted means क्या? मतलब वो एसिड के अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा पानी है. ओके, एंड कितना, मतलब 1%, अप टू 1%. मतलब ये इतना, मतलब पूरा आपको जो नाइट्रिक एसिड वाला पार्ट है वो आपको डाइल्यूटेड रखना पड़ेगा up to 1%. Then only you can make up this reaction. See, if you look in the test book now, so the reaction would be carried forward also. Means what? जिंक नाइट्रेट वाटर तो फॉर्म हो रहा ही है, साथ में ना नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड भी फॉर्म होगा. ओके, और रिएक्शन फिर बैलेंस कर लेते हैं हम लोग. दिस इज 4, दिस इज 3, 9. ओके. Okay, and it should be very diluted up to 1%. So then only it can liberate up this hydrogen gas. अगर diluted नहीं होगा तो it won't be able to release the hydrogen gas. So thank you students, this was the part 1 of the hydrogen gas.